Hi, I'm John Carpenter, and you will see me in the Thing expanded documentary.
U.S. number 31 calling McMurdo. Urgent.
Come in. Over.
Did you notice anything strange about the dog? Anything at all?
Strange? No.
What the hell happened here? Looks like something buried under the ice.
What we're talking about here is an organism that imitates other life forms.
Somebody in this camp ain't what he appears to be.
Bennings was right there, Mac. I swear to God it had a hold of him.
Could have imitated 1 million life forms on 1 million planets.
There was one of those things out there trying to imitate him, Gary. We gotta burn the rest of them. Nobody trusts anybody now.
So how do we know who's human?
There's some kind of test, Doc.
We're gonna draw a little bit of everybody's blood.
You ain't tying me up.
Then I'll have to kill you, child.
You gotta be kidding.
We gotta bring this whole place right down into the ice. We're not getting out of here alive. But neither's that thing.
I'm most proud of this movie. I wouldn't change.
Sorry about that. I was getting a little jumpy there like a prom date. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. I'm Tom Connors. We got the boss man with us today. How you doing, Andre?
I'm doing excellent. Greetings, everyone. Yet another week is finished, and here we are. We made it through. So, yeah, glad to be here with you, gentlemen.
Indeed. We also have with us Paul Chato. How are you doing?
I'm good. I am. It's Friday, although being semi-retired, almost every day is Friday.
All right. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
And also, if you work as a YouTuber, the only way to tell the weekdays from weekends is that the kids are home and don't have school those days. And if it's summer vacation still, there really is no differences there.
Yeah, well, you guys are working so hard. You measure the weeks by the number of live casts you're doing. Okay, we're on our third cast. Oh, it's Friday.
Yeah.
You may think that, but since I don't have kids like Andre, I have no idea what day it is usually.
Well,
it was Friday for me the other day. Like, I was like, wait, is it Friday or is it Thursday or is it Wednesday? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, well, but other than that, you are not wrong, Paul. And for anyone wondering, this isn't a job; this is a lifestyle. Only way you're going to make it.
Yes,
much.
yes. What kind of lifestyle, though?
One I wouldn't trade for anything.
Oh, that's very nice. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. Oh, that's you're now you need to do an ad for YouTube.
I do so many ads already. I don't think people can take anymore.
Hi, you interested in a career?
Yeah.
Well, hold
Where
that
you don't
thought,
want to get
because,
paid?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless
That's
you
right.
do ad reads.
Yeah, that your income is wholly based on what stupid thing Disney is doing. Join our army.
I would like to say we started doing this way before Disney was doing
No,
it.
I understand.
I remember back in the good old
I was
days
gonna
when
say,
Disney
yeah.
was an example of things to do. If you go back in our catalog of videos,
Yeah.
you'll find so many. We're like, this is what everyone else can learn from Disney. This is what DC needs to learn from Marvel. Kevin Feige is the master. What was that wrong? That didn't age well. But yeah, so we used to do videos like that, and then of course we just adapt to how things are. I would, for the sake of culture, I would have liked it if Disney didn't screw up the way they did, so we could do retrospectives on cool stuff that we like instead of just doing case studies on corporate insanity. But hey,
but we've been talking about that. But no, like I find that hilarious every time somebody posts under one of our videos or one of my Twitter posts or whatever. Like, what are you guys gonna do when you don't have Disney to talk about anymore?
Yeah.
It's like we were here before the Disney.
Yeah,
We'll
like
be around
lots,
after
man.
the Disney.
I look forward
That's
to the
just
day when we no longer have to. And if we can go back to another win for Disney, a cultural institution that is
Yeah,
important
right,
to us all.
exactly.
Nothing would be better than that.
Completely correct.
And besides, like tweets, oh, money grift. Well, there's no more. I mean, look at the views. I mean, there's no much more video, not much more money in a video on the Acolyte than there is in a retrospective and Around the World in 80 Days. So yeah, I hope the company does better and we can do other stuff. But yeah, well, we try to do that.
Completely agree with you.
We try to do
Well,
that.
they might get a win this weekend. I mean, they do have two of the biggest films out there right now, but
yeah, they better enjoy it. It's been another big week of losses, as we are going to see here. Certainly PR losses. And joining us to see that with us all are our lovely audience. We have approaching 1,000 watching right now. Please, everyone, smash that like. Help share the stream. Let everyone know that we are live, just like D. Bud Martin is encouraging you all to do. Thank you, D. Bud Martin, and also welcome everyone else here. So glad to see Brian Barth here, Shrap3D here, Pyrene Dream, Jill Powers, the River Daughter,
Hey,
Paul
Jill.
Angel D. Links, Daniel Hall, Cynthia Carter, and so many other. We have Dr. Longdongler is here, ActionCom is here, and yeah, so glad to see you all here. So everyone, please smash that like, and we'll get going with the topics of today soon. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. But let's warm up with this. Let's warm up with a trailer. Grimzilla has been a member for 28 months, meaning he gets a member badge and a comment, and he said Japanese version of Lord of the Rings trailer strongly implies the story is split between Helm and Hera and their defense of Hornburg and Edolas. Funny how the Hollywood version really only focused on Hera. I've only seen the US version of the trailer, but let's begin with that before we get into the differences in different versions. What did you think of the Western version of the trailer, Paul?
Oh, the West. Oh, sorry. You mean the English language?
Yes.
Is that what you mean? Oh, okay.
Apparently the Japanese got a different version.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Well, I could brush up on my Japanese. No, I don't know any Japanase. Sayonara. That's all I know. Hitachi.
Well, in a given situation,
Yamaha.
that's all you need.
That's right. Hitachi. Sansui Yamaha Honda. There you go. There's my morning racism. I was kind of left cold by the trailer. I mean, it had the tone of the Jackson movie. The heroine was not made to look like a man, but I'm honest to God, female girl boss out. I think everybody out there who has been really pressing the gas down hard on this has just made it bad for the near future or future of films that want to highlight a girl boss.
Or indeed any woman, because I think that I agree with you, and also Hyperguyver to echo those sentiments, saying for $5, one girl boss to rule them
there
all.
You go.
One girl boss to find them all. One girl boss to bring them all, and in wokeness bind them. Yeah, and I've said before, I really think that's the reason why Borderlands flopped as badly as it did. Now, there ain't no universe where that movie was going to be a smash hit. But the only way it flopped as badly as it did was because of all the girl bosses and granny bosses right there in your face. And I also think that the audience have had enough of girl bosses, and not just girl bosses, but anything that even gives a whiff of a girl boss. So I think that right now, if it's a male-oriented franchise and it's female-led, even if it's not a girl boss, that thing is going to struggle.
Well, there's even a line in it where it says that only a woman can handle this, or don't go out. There's a line in there that's just the total cliche girl boss of, no, don't go out. It's too dangerous. No, only I can handle it, or something. I went, really? Okay, you had to put that in there. I mean, that's the heroic moment that we're all cheering. Now, I cheered, and I think many of us cheered when can't remember her name, punched out the one of the Sauron's minions, right? He says, no man can defeat me, and she goes, I'm no man, and then she sticks a sword through his head.
Yeah, you mean like in the original movies,
Lord of the Rings.
Of course.
There wasn't a single person in the theater that didn't cheer.
No, that was awesome then. Absolutely.
But she was also set up correctly, right?
Well, and that's where I'm not concerned so much about. Like, I get it. Everybody's knee-jerk reaction.
That's a knee-jerk reaction to this. Tom,
I'm watching this, and I also watched the Japanese trailer, and I got to agree. I'm willing to give them the chance. You've got the original people behind this. Yes, there's some new writers involved with this, but if you see the Japanese version of the trailer, as the previous super chat brought up, it is a little different. You can see a different side of this story. Was it Grimzilla? Yeah. Grimzilla was 100% right. It does feel like the American version is trying to make this movie look like it's a woman power girl boss movie. But if you watch the Japanese trailer, it looks a lot more balanced. She has a companion that's a male, but you don't really notice that in the US version. She actually has some struggles and some other things that happen. And it does look like it's a bit more like there's even more of the world than we got to see in the US trailer, like some cameos and such. But anyhow, like, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this because I'm like, okay, I think I can trust Peter Jackson and gang because they've handled strong female characters before. You just gave a great example, right?
Right.
And I think what this movie and the Gollum movie are basically Peter Jackson saying to Amazon, "Oh, you want to ghost me? All right, well, you took Galadriel and you turned her into an unlikable bitch stereotype now of the Karen boss woman. Well, I'm going to show you how it's supposed to be done."
I'm all
and
in
then
on
the
that.
same thing with Gollum, because what did everybody say about Amazon's panderings of power, as George Molo likes to call it? He flat out, everybody was saying, how can you make a whole show out of just, an index? Well, they said the same thing about Gollum. They're like, how can you make a whole movie out of one paragraph? Peter Jackson is just going to be like, here, hold my beer and check it out. That's what I think he's doing right now. Is these two are basically two big middle fingers to Amazon. And then I think whatever the third project is that they haven't announced yet, that's his true passion project, right? That's my assumption or my gut feeling on this after kind of washing away some of the early, knee-jerk ghost chasing reaction to this. And I'm not saying anybody's wrong for doing those things because you are 100% right, Paul. I've gotten to the point where even if it's well written, I'm almost kind of tired right now of this female lead thing. Let's move past it for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, if it's done well, I don't care. And we may have a decent film here. We have till Christmas to find out, but I think that the US trailer did this movie a disservice.
I agree completely with that. Because as you have expressed, I think that what we are looking at right here, more so than a failure in the product itself, is a failure in marketing. That the people in Warner marketing decided maybe they're true believers. I don't know exactly who runs the marketing department or what their values are, but it looks like there's someone there who is of the opinion that the only way to sell this is with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and women,
Correct.
and all of those things. That's what I think.
And who would have been in charge when this was greenlit?
Well,
Miss Sarnoff.
That would, of course, have been Sarnoff. And also, this is something that we must never ever forget. This animated movie right here is just a rights retainer. At the time when this thing was greenlit, no one cared about this thing. There was no serious attention for anyone here. This was just a rights retainer. Like, fine, this is the minimum we can do here. Take some money, do whatever, but just put some chicks in it and make them gay. Because Sarnoff is just like Kathleen Kennedy. So that would have been there. I'm sure that's something that's left over from there. But beyond that, I also think that, well, either that is in the product and the American trailer is more representative of what it is, and the Japanese trailer, they just want people to see it in Japan. That we will just have to wait and see.
Well, and the thing is, those of us who watch anime is packed with lead female characters. There's just a crap ton of anime with, and that's you know what, it's funny. Why has it never bothered me in anime? Am I an asshole, or is it just in the hands of social activists, as Andre prefers to call them? Is it that the activists have ruined it for the genre? Because, like I said, anime, I would say more than 50% of anime and a lot of Japanese video games have got females as the lead.
Well, and it's my understanding this director is an anime director who's worked on quite a bit of things.
Right. So,
and Script Doctor brought up some great points last night. Like, let's just say, for the sake of argument, Sarnoff did say, yeah, you can do we need a Lord of the Rings project, but I want a strong female character, right? So who's to say that Peter, Philippa, and Fran didn't sit down and go, well, what the hell are we going to do here? Well, they were probably looking through things they could work with that they actually had the rights to, and they came across this story. Well, in this story, this female character is left completely vague. She's just mentioned as part of the story, and we don't know if Tolkien meant to come back later and embellish it and fill it out more, or if it's just the way he left it, just so he had it there to refer back to. Regardless, they keyed in on that because then they could actually expand upon that character and probably not trample on anything else in the universe before or after. See, I think that's where they're coming from. Kind of like when we were told, when Dune first happened, the first Dune, Villeneuve was told, we're going to race swap. You got to race swap and gender swap at least one or two characters, or we're going to do it for you.
Right.
So I think here they were, Sarnoff was in charge at the time. She probably told them it has to have a female character lead. I believe the crew sat down and they said, well, what can we work with? We already use these main characters. We don't want to mess with Galadriel. We don't want to mess with, Eowyn or anybody like that. They keyed in on this character because I don't even think she has a name. Because George was on last night talking about it. So I did send him the link if he's around. But yes, her original name was Chesty Morgan. Yeah. Chest E. Morgan. Yeah.
I mean, look at all the Studio Ghibli movies. I think pretty much every single one has got a main female character. But the difference is that the men aren't stupid in it. Like, they could be clumsy boys who are afraid of talking with girls. That's a Japanese trope, right? The tongue-tied boy who is not able to get out his what he wants to say. Even in Godzilla -1, the lead character could not tell this woman that he was living with that he was obviously falling in love with, and it was clear that she had fallen in love with him, that he just couldn't do it because he was too embarrassed. It was part of very Japanese cultural, right? But you didn't mind it. It's but yeah, I think the Disney and all the other activists out there. I mean, look what they did with the Acolyte, which is now being Sovietized. What's happening with the Acolyte is a lot like what happened with the apparatchik that stood on the dais with Stalin, looking at the rows of tanks and everything else, and if they go out of fashion, suddenly they're airbrushed out. Trotsky gone. That seems to be what's happening with the Acolyte. They're off the website. Toys are disappearing.
What Acolyte? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm curious if they even had merchandise to begin with.
Well, we don't
that's
know,
one thing I will.
Yeah,
because there are some people pointing out on the other side. They're like, we don't think they had any merchandise to get, and then like that might be actually true.
That might be true. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you're right. Obviously, as a Peter Jackson project and Lord of the Rings, we're going to give it a try, right? We're going to watch it.
Well,
of course.
Some people in the audience are like, well, she's not important. He never gave her a name because she's not important to the story. And I'm like, that's my whole point, right? Like, basically, Peter and crew are doing exactly what Amazon is doing to Galadriel, a character we do care about and know a lot about, right? Instead, they're taking a character that has no history really outside of their one part that they play in the story, which is a big part in the story. And we don't know if just Tolkien didn't go back to flesh it out later or what the deal was, because there was a lot of stuff that he left undone.
But that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking is like, okay, I'd rather see them destroy a character if it's going to be bad than a character we care about that we don't care about. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to destroy any of the lore until we see it.
You know what? She was riding that horse and wielding that sword just a bit too expertly for me.
Well, there's lots of scenes where in the Japanese cut where it shows her as a kid training too.
Yeah.
So that's another thing people.
Okay, so she is a central part of the series because they're showing her backstory, right?
In this movie, yes. Like I said, they fleshed this character out for the movie. This tale is somewhere I can't remember. George
so it's not a series; it's a movie.
No, it's a movie. It's an actual theatrical, because that's the whole point. Is that Warner Brothers had to put a movie in theaters because I don't know if you remember about what was it 2 years ago, Andre, when the Saul Zaentz company sold out the rights to the Lord of the Rings, and they're like, well, yeah, we got all the rights, and then Warner Brothers is like, no, you don't. Because the rights are all spread all over the place between The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and all the ancillary stuff surrounding it. And not only that, you have situations where people have the TV show rights with Amazon, because that was what was left over, and the movie rights with Warner Brothers. But see, Amazon can't touch certain characters without paying Warner Brothers for them, and all that other kind of stuff. That's why the New Line thing is at the end of the Amazon show, even though New Line has absolutely nothing to do with it.
I think Amazon needs to buy Warner Brothers.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, that can happen before you know it. I mean, Sattler probably only has it as a fix-em-upper. Yeah. But meanwhile, no.
And I mean, these are logical stories. Why wouldn't they try something out? Look, again, going back, we got to remember when this movie came into play. It was a rights retainer, and I'm sure Sarnoff had one stipulation, and that was that it had to be a female lead character.
Well, definitely.
Because like I brought up with Villeneuve when you were gone there for a second, Andre, about how we had heard that they told him either you're going to gender swap and race swap a couple of these characters or we'll do it for you.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling they got the same kind of pressure from up above.
Absolutely. And also just remember, this was but a rights retainer that no one cared about. But now they care. Now they care because the Rings of Power didn't so much give them competition, but it did give them a major marketing boost. So now they're going to get a ton of Lord of the Rings productions into development. And all of the ones that you mentioned right there, it's not for me to say what's going to happen or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if the things you mentioned weren't at the very least under consideration, because they can do it. They can fill out the Lord of the Rings universe that they have the rights to, and that's most of it. Warner can do pretty much whatever they please with and have Peter Jackson come and do it. So it could happen now.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. It could be shit, and I'll be the first one to admit it, right? You know, so when we get there in December, I'll be there to see it just like everybody else. And I'm not even that big of an anime fan. That's the part I'm looking forward to least amount, but the art does look amazing.
It does.
Right?
It does look good.
And the animation looks very fluid, and that's, you know, that's a plus. I mean, if it sucks, it sucks. But
well, this is kind of like the equivalent of a DC animated movie in a sense. That's the same thing that this means to Warner at the time when it was made, when it was greenlit.
But the funny thing is, did you notice in the trailer how they really, really push that this is attached to the Lord of the Rings films?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Well, they even put footage from the original in it.
Yeah. They want to be so clear as they can without saying it explicitly. That pay no attention to those fakes over at Amazon. That's not real Lord of the Rings. This is real Lord of the Rings. I kind of wish they would have been more explicit about it. Because
They kind of
have a
were.
case of brand confusion here with two competing Lord of the Rings, which are not canon with each other.
And that's why I think they had the original film so heavily featured in the trailer to show, hey, this is the real Lord of the Rings. This ain't the Amazon crap.
Yeah,
like this.
You need to only look at the font.
Yeah.
For that.
And I mean, and they got the story from the appendices. So I mean, that's basically what Amazon did for their show, right?
Yeah, it's the same basic approach. It's a matter of which part of material can you apply that approach to, and the most important thing, the execution.
Yeah, and
the
six,
people in Amazon have just shown themselves to be a bunch of incompetents. Sorry, carry on.
No. Six just sent me an article here about it, and in their breakdown of the story, which probably would have been the press release, I mean, it even says it's about a man who ruled Rohan before Eowyn's time, legendary king known as Helm Hammerhead. When Freka, the chieftain of neighboring proposes that his son, Wolf, wed Helm's daughter, Hera, Helm reacts badly. He strikes Farka dead with a single punch. All that's in the story. And
yeah,
Wolf
that's weird. It's
revenge.
weird that they would say before Eowyn's time, because no one gives a fuck about her. Like, she's not an anchor. I mean, that's a bit too harsh. She's not an anchor character. There's no Eowyn era. She was the daughter of the king.
Barnum wanted a female lead.
No. Yeah, I'm just saying. It's just a weird wording.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that.
That's what I'm thinking is, like, this feels like it's geared in different ways towards the audience. And I wonder if it's not necessarily misrepresenting what we're getting in the American trailer, but I'm not ready to just buy into this as all wham and powers stuff like it's presenting it compared to what I've seen in the Japanese trailer and stuff like that. I could be wrong.
I don't know the record of this particular anime director.
Oh, well, I know he's worked on the TV show for Ghost in the Shell. Let me look at the other stuff.
Oh, okay. Depends on which Ghost in the Shell version. There's some really bad ones.
Kenji Kamiyama is his name. He's worked on Ghost in the Shell standalone.
Okay, those are good. Standalone's good.
East of Eden.
East of Eden is good. Is very good.
Napping Princess.
Don't know it.
009 Red Cyborg. Tons and tons of stuff. I can't even read that.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, no.
Yeah, he's done a lot of anime. I mean, those are the most probably prolific ones there, I would say, I suppose.
Yeah, and we'll see just what kind of influence the American masters might have had on how he's not Ona. He's not going to take control of it and say, F you guys, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, right? It's a paycheck.
No, I think Peter and Fran and Philippe are more in charge, which would be the
but we
trio
don't know whether they've been that they have somehow been infested either. I mean, who was it that we went, oh yeah, this person probably isn't going to get infested, and then suddenly
fair.
Ben Stiller sounds like a complete twat.
Fair, but Peter Jackson, outside of like keeping his crayons off his old movies, like I thought he did a great, like he stood up to Disney on that Let It Be, or the Beatles documentary.
Yes, that's true.
And some other things to where he's like, well, they didn't want certain language and other things in there. He's like, well, the fuck we won't. Otherwise it ain't being shown on Disney Plus then.
Right.
Because he's like, this is the way it's cut. This is the way it's going out. And because there was some bits and pieces in there that Disney was worried about between language and it wasn't so much language, but there was a can't remember if it was Ringo or somebody else was doing some joke and it was considered a little racist or something.
Well,
like
I
that.
mean,
And some other little bits here and there they wanted out.
yeah. Well, Jackson refused to gender swap the Beatles for the special.
Yeah. The Beatettes.
The Beatettes. That's right. Nice.
You say that in jest, but Amazon actually did a movie based on the history of aviation, based on these two pioneers that discovered all kinds of stuff about the weather using like air balloons. You know what they did? They gender swapped one of these historical characters.
Really?
Yeah. So you say that in jest, but be careful with what you say in jest this day and age, because they actually took a movie that purports to be historic and they just gender swapped one of these actual named researchers.
Wow.
Who was so important that I do not recall the individual's name, and then they made him a girl boss who was having adventures on top of the air balloon and everything. So the people in the chat will tell me the name.
I swear that a lot of this goes back to like Hamilton or something like that.
Well, Hamilton was swapped. I mean,
that's what I mean. Like, it's like okay, if you're gonna do it for like a play or you're gonna do the quote unquote whiz type of thing, fine. But if you're telling an historical, documented movie, I think you should go at least to certain pains to.
Well, Britain has gone nuts over that, but we don't have to go over that. But then again,
True.
You see a historically, well, I mean, I don't know whether the story fully is accurate, but you see a movie like Hidden Figures, right? Where that was basically true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
that's what you should be doing. Like, find those parts of history.
Yeah, that's what's
movie about that.
That was
rewrite history.
That was a heroic movie. Nobody complained about that. That was a really, really good story. And you're telling me there aren't more stories like that around?
Well, of course, there's the Battle of Hastings, which the BBC are filming right now, with half the cast is black, all the lords and everything. So yeah.
Yep. I think they meant Hastings, New Jersey.
Yeah. You'd think so, but yeah, no, this is England 1,000 years ago. But yeah,
let's see what the audience is up to.
The BBC is the worst right now.
Oh, completely.
The BBC. Packing Proton's been a member for 7 months. It says Star Trek Voyager had a year of hell. Disney might be there. Yeah, Disney might be entering a century of hell. It's absolutely amazing that the shareholders have all not revolted yet. Such is the cult of woke.
Are they talking about Star Trek Discovery? I mean, Voyager's long gone.
Well, yeah, but in Star Trek Voyager, there was a double episode called Year of Hell.
Oh, okay.
Pretty cool episode.
Okay, I wasn't a Voyager
double
fan.
episodes, yeah. But whereas for Disney, it's been far more than a year, like centrally. Well, I think that probably by the end is going to be a decade of hell, depending on how things play out. But yeah, this will definitely go down in history as Disney's decade of hell.
Well, they've been pushing it for almost 2 decades now.
Yeah, no, but especially like also this week. I mean, that's like the fun thing when I struggle with what do I put on the thumbnail this Friday. Oh, it's another week of hell for Disney, which indeed it has been. Because you've had the Acolyte, which has been confirmed to be cancelled. They're getting loads of backlash from that, and all of the wrong people celebrating and cheering. So yeah, I'm sure that's giving them a lot of plus. Plus, WW Pro has done some excellent reporting on how they're freaking out behind the scenes with Rachel Zegler.
Yeah,
potentially blowing up Snow White even worse than they already had done with her off-screen antics and her reported feud with Gal Gadot, which is now getting mainstream coverage even beyond YouTube videos. I mean, even the Daily Mail, which is a pretty sizable newspaper, did a feature story on the feud between Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler, driven by Rachel Zegler, of course. It's not driven by Gadot. It's driven by Zegler, who doesn't want to do a movie with.
It's not driven by her. It's driven by her cohort and her insistence on wanting to show her curricula vitae. No, not her curricula vitae. her membership card into this
her
group
virtue.
of people. It's not her. She doesn't have two brains.
Well, this is this is why I would be careful, so I do not accuse anyone of doing something that they haven't done or expressing attitudes that.
Well, I'm just saying she's trying to support a group. I don't think she has enough brain cells to be able to figure this out on her own.
Trying to send the message, I'm one of you.
Yes,
so never mind that the movie flopped.
That's what all of this is.
Good company and the good people with the right attitudes. Yeah, of course. And whenever you see some actor say something really, really stupid, then very often this is their public virtue signal and commitment to I'm down with the cause.
Yes,
whatever cause you guys in the aristocracy are down with, I'm down with that too. Now lift me up into your ranks.
Yeah, now
that's what's going on.
Susan Sarandon is nuts enough to actually be leading the charge. I don't think she's ever cared about wanting to show her commitment to a group, but certainly young Ziegler, that's what she's doing.
Sarandon almost got canceled over the Palestine thing, but
well, I think she's had some issues, but I mean, I'm saying that she is not Ziegler. You can kind of sort out that she believes what she actually believes.
Well, Ziegler's kind of a. Nah, I don't even want to get into it. Let's keep moving along. Yeah, it's not even worth it. Ruby Hoove is gifted a membership. Thank you for that, Ruby Hoove. Dr. Long Dongler sending in that thumbs up to remind everybody to pound that like button with a £1.99. Thank you so much, Dr. Long Dongler. We got Super Cosmic Mutant Honey Candle Squid sending in $2. Says girl bosses are just mean girls renamed obnoxious. Sometimes that is the case. And then we got Grimzilla sending in a very generous $20 and says, I also trust the Japanese who knows how to make badass, beautiful lead and old badass going out in a blaze of glory. Also, Hera at the least looks like a beautiful woman, like Ezra Scarlet. Seriously, Google her image her. Okay. Ezra Scarlet. All right. Take a look. All right. She looks like an anime character. Here we go.
Her eyes aren't big enough.
She don't look too bad. Not my style, but hey.
Do they have a picture? There she is. Is that her from the
This would be Ezra Scarlet.
From what? Not Lord of the Rings.
No. Something else that
No, thank God that is not from Lord of the Rings. If that was from Lord of the Rings, maybe from Amazon, but yeah.
Icthulu says with $5, anime specifically write characters to support their society's culture's betterment. Westerners write women to dunk on men. That's the difference.
They dunk on women too. This is the irony, because a girl boss is such a stereotype. Like it dunks on women every single bit as much as it dunks on men. In some
cases, more if they feel threatened. Yeah, I was just gonna say if they feel threatened, even more.
Some cases, even more. I mean, you know the girl with the dragon tattoo?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what the original title of that book is in Swedish? They softened the title up for the American release. And they made it more lyrical. But the original title, if you translate the original Swedish title to American, it's actually Men Who Hate Women. And that's yes, that's the actual title. Men som hatar kvinnor. So,
and why would it be called that? Like, I don't know the story.
Because the author is a commie Marxist, and he decided so he's kind of like an real bad SJW, and he took all of the misogyny that he had within him and that he sees in the super duper tolerant Swedish society, and he's not completely wrong. And I say that as a Norwegian because we have the exact same thing in Norway. I mean, the picture that may be portrayed outside is just bullshit. There's rot in Scandinavia, and that's kind of like what was there in that title. Men that hates women.
It's one of the jokes of hippiedom, and there's nothing more misogynist than a super hot, tolerant male who
a male
talks
feminist
about women's
basically.
rights.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like where I was trying to go with there. I just got lost in the way there.
Yeah, but I mean, I got it.
But the people behind the girl bosses, the ones who are pushing for it, very often they are men that are quite misogynistic.
So I grew up at the tail end of the hippie movement, and it wasn't that women were throwing themselves at me, but one of the things I just found really ironic was in this time, the beginning of feminism and self-actualization for women, I saw endless girls throwing themselves at guys bare-chested with knitted vests and long hair and bands and everything else. And the guys were like totally cool and hippie, but they were just the same as a jock. They were they were just as bad, just as misogynistic, treated women badly, but women just flocked to them because they had this image of being, part of the group and part of the 60s, and everything is going to be groovy. But they were just as bad. And I'm going, hey, I'm a nice guy. I'm actually a nice guy. I'm going to treat you properly and well. And they go, fuck you. I don't want that.
Yeah, no, that's this is what young insecure guys think that women want, but in reality, a little bit more diverse picture than that. Also,
well, in high school, we all know that the girls like the bad boys. We know that.
Yeah, and that never stops.
Never
before
and
before we move on with the
bad Norwegians.
Before we move on with the super chats, let me just bring these up here first. We get right back to this one. While we were on the girl with the dragon tattoo, Jill Power says, "Oh, Paul, watch the original Swedish film of the girl with the dragon tattoo. It's really good and a good read." Is the book, and I will add to that if you can find it. It's actually not filmed as a film, but it's filmed as a mini series that's then cut down to a film. So what you really want to find is the mini-series, where each book basically has a 3-hour running time divided over 2 hour-and-a-half long episodes. So that's what you really want to see.
Dear Lord.
And Renee Sayworth wonders, isn't the author already dead? Yes, Stig Larsson is dead. We call it the Millennium Trilogy because he wrote 3 books in it, but he meant to write 10, because those Nordic noir series of detectives and protagonists, and they typically go on for like 10, 15 books, stuff like that. So that trilogy was cut short, basically, is what happened. And with that, Tom, we can move on to where we were.
Thanks, Jill.
That's fine. We also have a member chat from Tommy Reviews who says, "Hail Midnight's Edge. I thought the trailer for War of the Rohirrim looks great, and I think it's interesting Warner Brothers is doing an anime theatrical release instead of the usual animated." Yeah, I think that is kind of interesting. That makes me wonder, as far as, like I said, like, yeah, sure, we're getting sold a girl boss in the trailer, but I wonder how girl bossy it's going to be in the execution. Could end up being a decent character.
And it's smart that they're zigging with the animation as opposed to trying to create some massive live version like Rings of Power. It's also cheaper.
Yeah. Again, it would be because it was the rights retainer, so it would be embarrassing if it wasn't.
Yeah, at some point, as we talked about with Star Wars and Star Trek, they're going to have to figure out how this thing moves forward. You can't just keep mining the same open pit mine, right?
Well, they could if they did it right.
Well,
that's the problem. They poisoned the well.
No, that's true. But there's only so much. Tolkien did not write endless commentary on this. At some point, we do know that there's things happening in other parts of that world that Tolkien never wrote about. At the same time, stuff happens all at the same time.
I have the perfect solution with how you can bring in like diversity and stuff like that. Lord of the Rings, Tales in Africa.
Well,
What was happening in Africa at the time of
well,
that,
not Africa per
that?
se, but like another map. So I mean,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like the part of the world that's outside of the known map. What was going on there? So there you can tell stories without really interfering with what's going on in the UK.
Well, and you know what? The prototype for that is the Elder Scrolls, because Skyrim was one part of the map, and each Elder Scroll 1 was a different part, and these things were kind of happening concurrently. Sometimes things happened after each other, but Elder Scrolls is the perfect example of a massive world where every single time they did a different video game, it was a different part of the map.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so the rules kind of kept the same, and you had dragons in some, not dragons in other. I mean, there are some places which had no dragons. So I don't see why people can't do that with these properties. Oh, I know why, because they don't have the imagination to do it.
And they don't have the executives that would allow it if some writer by miracle.
Yeah, because it would be way too new IP-ish, right? They'd be scared.
Yeah. So you're basically going up against a system, which is ironic because it's exactly that kind of thing that would salvage the brand, and where you also could do different things and signal some virtue without tarnishing the original IP in the process. So it's win-win, but good luck convincing that of everyone. And then let's move on to some more super chats here. Did we get... yeah, right. Tommy Reviews wonders, also, thoughts on Terminator Zero? It looks good. Tom, have you seen the trailer for the animated Terminator Zero?
Just the one that came out a while ago. I guess there was a little featurette that came out I haven't had a chance to watch yet.
Well, that's a featurette. I don't think there's any other trailer than the one that came a while ago.
Yeah. But no, it could be good. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it a little bit, actually. Which is weird, but I will be checking it out, and I will be hoping for the best. Of course, I have very modest expectations. Let's put it that way. But I don't think it's going to be difficult for it to be better than some of the most recent movies. The question is, can it be up there with the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which outside of the first two movies, I think remains the best non-comic book Terminator iteration to date. And with any luck, it might be up there with that. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Let's keep moving here. We got Bucky Cat with a milestone for 17 months. Thank you for that. Then we've got the Lord Akira here with 10 Canadian dollars. Says, woke. What is that? Does not exist. They said for the past decade. Harley Davidson, after the backlash, we will get rid of all the woke stuff, and we know what it is. Weird. Yeah. And then C-Man points out here too on that note. Watching companies like Harley Davidson and Jack Daniels running away from the woke and DEI, the woke boosters like BlackRock and State Street cut off the funding for ESG, etc. No, Harley, this is the first I'm hearing about them backing down from this shit. No, they got a new owner, and he decided to go completely full DEI on the company, right? And me coming from Wisconsin, Harley's big around here, and yeah, that they just destroyed their image. Jack Daniels, I guess, was smart enough not to even get involved in it in the first place. And I guess that's the report coming out on them. But
yeah, that's that Starbucks character on Twitter who also went after Tractor Supply Co. and John Deere.
John Deere, yep.
And then now has gone after Harley Davidson. And it's all part of ESG. This is they've
Indeed.
But what I don't understand is that ESG, you can approach it in a bunch of different ways. I don't understand why they keep hiring people who go all in on the bullshit, on the nonsense. You don't have to go
because they thought they
far.
had to for a while, I think.
Pardon me?
And it was I think it was because of pressure from companies like BlackRock and State Street, and you had a lot of these people that were creating the illusion that it needed to be done.
The pressure it comes from the rating that you get,
Right.
and lowering, like it's very insidious. You want your money to be cheaper, then adhere to these rules. BlackRock doesn't push per se; they just lay back in the weeds like vipers. So you want like a 90, you try to get it up to a 90. I forget what the term is called, but you want to get yourself up to 95, 99% of, holiness and goodness. And then your money is going to be, your loans are going to be cheaper. Well, your completion bonds and things like that are going to be cheaper. So, yep, this is the nasty way they're getting everybody to toe the line.
Mm-hmm. Adam Wolford sends in 10 and says Tolkien was working on a new story set long after Return of the King, but he didn't want to finish it. It made humans evil, but he also did some work on the 2 blue wizards, but he passed away. Yeah, as far as I know, he's got a bunch of notes and stuff that never got finished. Well, we kind of know how Lord of the Rings turns out. It's supposed to be a prehistory of England, so I mean,
correct. Yeah, it's the English version of Beowulf.
Yeah. And then Adam Wolford says Ezra Red is from Fairy Tale. So there's your answer to that question, Paul. She uses a magic sword. Ooh.
So Ezra Red
uses sword magic.
Sword magic, yeah.
And then Marksman 117B says with $1.99, can confirm now, Japanese trailer hits different. Yeah.
And
then Pilgrim Media says, do what PS4 won't play Lord? What PS4 won't play Lord of the Rings?
I think maybe he means, do you know why PlayStation 4 won't play Lord of the Rings 1 any version? Is that what you're trying to ask?
Never heard that there was a problem with this, yeah. Not that I know of. I mean, hell, I had a PS3 and a PS4 as my main Blu-ray players for a decade. And I had no problems playing Lord of the Rings on it that I recall. And I'm sure I watched it at some point on it. Maybe not, but I don't know. This is the first I've heard about it, Pilgrim Media. I'll have to look into that. Hyperguyver 2 sends in 5 and says, Rachel Ziegler is bombing Snow White harder than Hezbollah ever could. Oh. And then Chris K sends in 5 and says, Hail Midnight's Edge. Andre, any chance for Pagan Fest coverage? Chato, have you found the Suicide Squad Isekai comic to be palatable? So first,
Isekai anime to be palatable.
No, I haven't. I mean, I haven't seen the Suicide Squad anime.
And that's that one with that weird dancing shit in it, isn't it? Amanda Waller dancing in the credits, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, looks weird. But as far as Pagan Fest, Andre?
Pagan Fest, there are a couple of them. Like, are we talking about the one in the UK in early 2025 in January or something? I hadn't planned on it, but if there's mass demand for it, hey, I'd love to take a trip to the UK to go to Pagan Fest. You have to specify if that's the one you're referring to, or if there is some Pagan Fest in the US that I've missed out on.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if there's demand, if people ask for metal news and stuff like that, then hell, maybe
that's Andre's way of saying say it in the chat so then he can write it off on his taxes that he had to go see Rammstein again this week.
Well, I missed out on their most recent tour, so
see, I knew it was going to be something like that. It's never no, that's not true. It's well, I missed the last one.
There's always next year, but hey, I'll attend Pagan Fest in the meantime.
I'm not gonna.
If there's demand, so I can argue that I need to cover it from here, so I can argue that for my accountant. Then yeah, I need some,
well, we already have a logo for it. I mean. So
I even have some stories prepped for it.
There you go. So Last Millennial has a question for me, though. Do you like Star Trek better than Star Wars? You say you don't like Star Wars. Okay, well, this is a very complicated answer, so I'm going to try and keep it as succinct as possible. Star Wars used to be my jam. Star Trek was always just kind of there, but then the prequel between the prequels and the Star Wars sequels, I just kind of went, you know what? Fuck this noise. There's less good Star Wars than there's good Star Wars anymore. And I kind of gravitated more towards Star Trek. Now, I wouldn't say one is better than the other because they're two completely different animals. I like them both for two completely different reasons. So take that as you will. But at this point, I'm about the same place with Star Trek too. I haven't seen hardly any of Picard. I watched the first season, and I think that was it. So that's about as far as and I haven't watched Strange New Worlds or any of that kind of crap. So, or Strange Nude Worms, as our old friend Klobby used to call it.
It's you know, what's funny is that they're kind of merging into badness.
At some point, they'll converge and everything will just be destroyed.
Well, J.J. Abrams wanted Star Trek to be more like Star Wars.
Yeah,
and Star Wars has just become boring.
Gay.
So that was that was a good way of ruining both franchises at the same time. And Mexican Iron Man says arguably every weekend at Chato, Mexican Iron Man at the pool party, I should call Mexican Pagan Fest. Oh yeah, I'd love to go to Pagan Fest.
Well, I need to get down there, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm getting so sick and tired of everybody else getting to meet Mikey before I do.
Well, I mean, you know, the thing is, when we were down there, we were in the pool, and then suddenly he would pour Sterno on the pool and set it on fire, and they were like that. It's not funny, Mike. Thanks a lot.
It's fire magic.
Dude, that would be so awesome if you have like some proper Norwegian black metal in the background with the fire and everything. I mean, that'd be awesome. Yeah, you play some Rammstein there. Yeah, perfect. Fire. No. Rammstein actually have a song in Mexican. So they sing in Spanish. That'd be perfect for that. Yeah, you know the song.
They are such a good band.
Yeah, they are
together.
Oh yes, yeah. They're touring right now. Like I missed one of their recent tours, which really sucks because they have the best concerts in the world. So they are still active. I hope that they'll be. I saw someone.
People think I'm kidding when I say that's your church. Yeah, he goes to Rammstein more than any. I swear, almost every weekend.
It's Stein. It's EI.
Stein. I know. I do it on purpose. It's like Frankenstein.
Yeah. Louis Messina. He also missed Rammstein in Denmark.
Well, we got some breaking news here before we get into the Crow news. Taika Waititi, according to Comic Books News, is not working on the next Thor, which we already knew. And his Star Wars is dead. DOA.
It's nice with some confirmation, and this comes from Cosmic Book News, and they got the story from insiders on the ground at Comic-Con. So while we do not have the named sources, then the sources are known to them, and basically what they are saying is that there was a breakdown in communication between Disney and Taika Waititi over Thor Love and Thunder. So he apparently exited that movie before it was even done. And that torpedoed the relationship between him and Marvel and him and Disney at large. So that ended any chance of him being invited back for any more Thor movies, in addition to any Star Wars movies. Of course, the Star Wars is less of a loss because with Kathleen Kennedy, that probably wasn't happening anyway. But so that's the end of Taika Waititi and Disney movies, probably.
We already knew he wasn't going to be working on the next Thor. That was obvious.
Obviously, but there we have some more confirmation of it.
But if you're planning on going to see The Crow, you better go see it this weekend. Boy, oh boy, I haven't seen an opening preview night this bad since I don't know fucking when. This thing didn't even make $1 million.
So basically, it did even worse than Borderlands.
Yes. Way worse than Borderlands.
Well, you know what? Lionsgate should take heed in this, because this means that their Borderlands no longer is the worst opening of 2000.
The only thing this movie has going for it, Andre, is that it probably cost half as much or less than half as much as Borderlands.
Yeah.
The budget I've seen tossed around is, I think it's 50 million.
Studio.
Yeah.
It's Lionsgate. Lionsgate.
They probably shouldn't celebrate too hard then.
That's the thing. The president walks in on Monday morning. He's like, "Good news is Borderlands is no longer the lowest opening of the year. Yay! Bad news is Crow is." Oh, like yeah. And yeah. So this thing is already being pulled from theaters. I've gotten multiple reports, including 6 herself, said that it was showing in 2 theaters. Let me recheck what she said here, but she said, I believe she said it was showing in 2 theaters in her local theater. Now it's only showing at 1. Yep. And there was people like yesterday, a couple of the guys from the comics division, they didn't get to go see it in the theater they had planned on because they canceled the showing.
Ouch. Ouch.
And I've been to movies where I'm the only guy in the audience. So damn, that's bad. I have a feeling it's going to be on video on demand before you know it.
Before next week.
When I was playing with the Frantics, which there was 4 of us, we had one rule that as long as there were more than 4 people in the audience, we would play.
I misread what 6 said. There's 2 movie chains in her town. Crow is only playing at 1 now. It was at both of them yesterday. That's what it was. Well, so basically what I said. Instead of 2 screens, it's on 1 screen now. But she wanted me to correct her in the chat, or correct it in the chat.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah. Well,
but as I also predicted, it looks like Deadpool and Wolverine may be coming back to #1 this weekend. So I'm not surprised there.
Yeah, no, that movie keeps on doing amazing.
Oh, what else is out there?
Nothing.
Well, it's Alien Romulus.
And we'll find out just whether that 3rd act has killed its future in
that
the
will be
theaters.
very, very interesting to see how that movie is going to perform now in its 2nd weekend.
It was even beat by that Blink Twice movie with Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum. I don't know if you guys seen the trailers for that.
Yeah, they're all over the place. So yeah, I've seen it. Well, I've seen
It'll be lucky to make 6 to 9 million this weekend. Although they're still saying it's going to make more than Blink Twice. I don't know about that. We'll see. Ends with Us, they say, will probably remain at #3 with an impressive 10 million to 12 during its 3rd week. Alien and Romulus, Deadpool and Wolverine are going to compete for the top spot. Alien is on track to make 16 to 18 or 16 to 19, and Deadpool and Wolverine similarly. So there you go. So we will see. We will see. And the reviews for The Crow have not been very kind either.
No, we have heard this like a long time ago that this was going to be a disaster. I'm surprised that anyone even pushed forth that project again. But again, that's why a studio like Lionsgate is the bomb factory that it's rapidly becoming again. It's for pushing these kind of projects that really should not be pushed. This is
this is flat out a rights retainer. That's all.
Yeah, what Carlos is saying here as well. There's only one Crow movie, and maybe that's how it should be. Because if we're completely honest, how big is that comic book really? Is the comic big enough to justify another adaptation of it?
Well, how big was the first Crow movie? I never got a sense that it was particularly big.
It did 50 million in the box office, cost between 15 million and 20 to make. So it didn't do amazing, but what it did is it became huge on video.
VHS sales.
And the other thing is like it became a cultural thing. Like I jokingly say, but it's almost true. You walk into any Hot Topic now, one half of the room is Nightmare Before Christmas, the other half is The Crow. And that's not even half of a joke. It's like they literally like that thing is like, that's what I mean. This was stupid. And Crow is so culturally ingrained that you can't try and reimagine it. You can't try and recapture it. It's like Wizard of Oz at this point. Just don't fuck with it.
Am I going to get into trouble by saying The Crow was just okay anyway?
Not with me, or not?
You and Andre need to get the fuck out of here.
It's okay.
Oh my God. You can tell who's the American on the panel.
Yeah. Well, we have European tastes.
In 3, 2, 1, the crowd turns against these two.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was really felt like dime store Bruce Lee.
It's too bad he had to leave.
Yeah.
So I mean,
no, the crow is a cultural thing in the U.S. Guys.
I
you
get
guys
it.
got to understand.
Well,
like,
the other thing that you guys got to remember is that, notwithstanding the rights issue, if you want to maintain a studio, you've got to play the numbers, and that means you've got to crank out, you know, whatever your number ends up being. They go, okay, to make a living, to make this work, we have to do 20 films a year, and then there's going to be good years and bad years. But that is the way the old studio system worked. Is that they had X number of films that they had to put in the theater, and you had your range of good producers, good directors, good actors, good writers, and you just tried to get the best crop that you possibly could in any given year, right? So you have to greenlight stuff. That's part of the challenge. That's part of the problem.
And I have to clarify one thing. Master Clockwork says, yes, but Europeans like warm beer.
Yeah.
No, that's the British. British like warm beer. The rest of us, we want it so cold that it's almost freezing.
But that being said, you can tell how good a beer is by drinking it warm. And then you go, okay, this is a decent beer. A lot of times, really shitty beer is made freezing cold because, you know, it deadens your nerves so you don't taste how bad it is.
Yeah.
Well, we got Yellow Flash joining us. How you doing, sir?
Hello.
Hello, Yellow Flash.
We're in the midst of talking about the disaster that was The Crow.
Oh yeah, that movie's losing big this weekend. Good.
We're renaming it The Squab.
You could probably just change it to Joker, because
I've been calling it Crow Rehab.
He does.
He looks like Jared Leto's Joker.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, just call it a Joker movie. It's not like the Joker movie has anything to do with the real Joker anyway.
I hate Jared Leto and everything.
Well, I attempted to watch it. I got about 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, fuck this. But the guys watched it last night, and they broke it down for me pretty good. Like, yeah, it is basically what we assumed it was from what it sounds like. 2 junkies get killed. One comes back for revenge. There's the bad guys are also supernatural. But they changed so many elements of the story that I'm like, why didn't they just make their own thing? It kind of, when they were talking, I even said this last night. I'm like, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the stupid Child's Play remake. When I got done watching that, I'm like, you know what? If they had just taken all the original ideas that they added to this and just did their own thing, it would have been a much better movie. And then a year later, we got Megan, and it was, which was basically taking all those original ideas from what was in Child's Play and putting it into its own thing. They could have just done a completely different movie and just had it be like a revenge love story, and I don't think anybody would have gave a shit.
The only
it might have done better.
The only Crow remake I would even entertain is if they said, this time we're following the comic book to a T.
And even then,
it's like, okay, well, you didn't do that last time either. So if you were going to actually take the source material and run with it, then I would be a little open to it. But just making another movie with not really like little to none of the original material in it, I don't understand the point.
Well, and that's the thing with the Crow movie is like, I stand by the Crow film as kind of like TMNT, where they took all the great things in the comic, but they embellished it and added to it in a way. The movie's almost better than the comic, because the comic, there's things in the comic where it's,
I don't know. TMNT better than the comic. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I would say that too. Definitely. Because they kill Shredder right away, and they have no personalities in the comic.
Because it was supposed to be a one shot.
I know, but for the first, they still don't get him for a while, but that's not the point. My point is like, for instance, a perfect character as an example is like Sarah in the movie, which was Sherry in the comic. Like, they have a history together, and I like the relationship that they have there, where you have this young couple helping take care of this girl whose mom's a junkie, right? Well, in the comic, he just meets her when he's killing one of the other guys, and it's just like a happenstance kind of thing. And then in the comic also, he doesn't die. He's there for other reasons, and he's going through the pining shit and all this other stuff where the Crow's finally just quit worrying about, Shelly, you got other things to worry about, basically, in so many words. There's just things like that are in the comic that they left out that I felt like the movie adapted much better. They embellished, added to, And if in Top Dollar is one of my favorite villains of all time in movies, period. Like they did, and he's a nobody in the comic book. In the comic book, it's also just a random act of violence, which is fine, but it's kind of like it's basically a Death Wish story, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, to me, it's like you can't touch that. I wouldn't try to remake it, even if it was beat for beat, just like the comic, because it's just going to get compared to the 1994 one, no matter what you do.
I'm just saying that would be something I would rather see than this.
Probably. But at the same time, if they're going to do that, I just assume
it doesn't need to be made in. None of these movies need to be made. Like, are they really making Anaconda 2? Who the fuck asked for Anaconda 2?
No. They're making Anaconda 2. Oh, it's a remake of the first Anaconda.
Yeah.
In case you weren't aware, we already have an Anaconda 2.
Yeah, there's already an Anaconda 2.
And a 5. They were all straight to DVD. I mean, they even have like I forget their names. So people
I didn't even know that
in the 90s. Yeah,
I didn't know there were sequels.
Yeah,
to
there's
it.
a bunch of straight to video sequels. Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't sound like I missed
the
much.
later one are complete asylum level.
Who's asking for these?
I don't know. The first one did so well. This
I
is the
don't
latest.
remember
gimmick
it
now
that
is,
well.
For some reason, and I don't know why they keep doing this. The latest gimmick is allowing what would normally are comedic writers, directors, and actors, bringing them in and working on shit like Halloween, Exorcist, and Anaconda. What the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't get it.
You know what? I think, you know what? I think it might be the effect of 21 Jump Street, which worked. They made it much more.
That was
comic.
a one and done.
No.
You can't do it again.
No. I totally get it. But what happens is that these studio officials look at the one outlier that worked, and then they try to go, oh, that one worked. We'll make everything funny. And then that will eventually wear off. But sometimes that takes a lot of time.
Well, I blame the Halloween.
Yes.
The reboot.
That too. Yeah.
That's because you had McKay, not McKay.
Is that the one with the one with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah, well, Danny McBride and
I liked the first one.
Yeah,
it was
where they lured him back to the house and trapped him in the basement.
It goes to shit at the
I liked
last
that
act.
one.
But anyway, the point I was getting at is they have Danny McBride and I think who's it? David Gordon Green working on it. And these guys are guys that come from comedy. And then they had the same guy working on The Exorcist. It's like, in what universe should these guys be working on things like this? I don't get it. It's kind of like when John Carpenter tried to do comedy with Chevy Chase and it didn't work out. That Invisible Man movie that nobody remembers.
Oh, that was Carpenter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was that the one they were trying to compare to rape and sexual assault and shit?
I don't remember, but all I know is that John Carpenter
yeah, that's right.
Had a lot of bad things to say about Chevy Chase. That's all I know.
No, I'm talking about that new Invisible Man movie.
Oh no, that's the one with the Blumhouse one. I haven't seen it yet, but that's got what's her face from the.
I didn't think it was bad, but there were people out there saying it's a woman's Me Too story and shit. Like that's an example of them killing a movie. You know, like that movie was fine. And they were out there trying to say it was like this big virtue and
wasn't it supposed to be an allegory on like it was supposed to be an allegory on domestic abuse, but I'm like, they already did that with Hollow Man, basically, kind of. When they had Kevin Bacon's character going crazy. Which is probably one of the best remakes of The Invisible Man ever. Have you guys seen that one?
Yes.
Paul Verhoeven's last I think it was his last US
really
film,
good.
Wasn't it, Andre?
Yeah, it's a really, really good one. Special effects, they weren't great even when it came out. Like it used CGI effects that
no, but the story's
wasn't
good.
Quite there. Story's very good. Oh yeah, story's very good. Nothing wrong with the story.
But yeah, because I remember in an interview, John Carpenter, they asked, was there any movie you ever regretted making? He's like, no. Well, one, that fucking Invisible Man movie with Chevy Chase. But anyhow, so let's get back into the super chats here. Pilgrim Media says, who's hotter, 7 of 9 or DePaul? DePaul.
Who's DePaul?
That chick from Enterprise.
Oh, T'Pol. Oh, yeah,
T'Pol, yeah. Did I say
Enterprise?
it?
Is that the one with what's his face?
It's the
Scott
short,
Baio.
yeah, no, it's the.
Yeah,
the
it's
I don't like that
Vulcan.
one.
It's the
No,
Vulcan.
no, no. This is
I'm 7 and 9. I'm going with
no.
7 and 9.
T'Pol is the almost wife of Spock in Strange New Worlds.
No, that's T'Pau. T'Pol was played by Jolene Blaylock, and originally it was supposed to be that character. When they figured out that, oh shit, if we use her, we actually have to pay. We have to pay like a licensing fee to the writer who invented the character. We don't want to do that, so we're gonna just change the name from T'Pau to T'Pol. And then T'Pau appeared in season 4 of Enterprise later on.
So you're talking about the Vulcan.
Yes, the Vulcan.
Tiny
character.
Vulcan. No,
That's what I said like 5 minutes ago.
No. I was trying to figure it out on my own there, Tom.
It's T'Pol.
Yes,
T-P-O-L.
yeah, it's all T. Yeah,
Not T'Pol,
yeah.
it's T.
I knew what he meant.
Pol. And of the two, I mean, these are both great actresses, and I do not going but T'Pol for me.
Yeah, I'm on that.
I'm not interested in that show. The only Star Trek that exists to me is the original crew, Star Trek Generation, DS9, and Voyager. That's it.
Enterprise is all right. Master Clockwork says, I already have perfectly good crow over here. Yeah, that's what I said. We already got one at home. We don't need another one. Grazy just sends it $1.99. Didn't say anything. Just sent in some support. Thank you for that.
Oh, well, for that.
I think maybe they were having some issues. That might be.
All right, yeah.
So Grazy comes in again. Thank you so much with, hi, Andre. Headed to Norway for vacation. Any tips?
Okay, yeah, that depends on where in Norway you are going, because Norway is actually fairly big. Like it stretches. It's not like wide, but it stretches the same distance from Mexico up to Canada. So there's quite a lot to see there. What I would say first and foremost, I would recommend Bergen. Or if you're going to go to one city in Norway, Bergen is your go-to. I say that as someone from Oslo. So Bergen, that's the most beautiful city. Also try to catch.
Go to Candace. Candace is also nice. Never.
Which
mind.
one you said?
Candace Bergen joking.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, this is true. And try to catch the fjords if you can. And if you are going to Oslo, then you want to go to Bygde. That's Bygdøy. This is where you have all of the museums, and there you want to go to the Viking Museum, and you want to go to the Kon-Tiki Museum, and just check out that area, that part of town. Also, in Oslo, you want to check out Aker Brygge and the area around the royal palace and the fortress. And I'm not going to bore everyone else with more, but those are the minimums of the places to check out. Yeah. So I hope you have a great stay, and I hope that the weather will be to your liking. That's always a high risk thing that doesn't always work out. So fingers crossed for good weather while you're there. And that is a flip of the coin. And then
we got Sergeant Point Blank, who's sorry. Go ahead.
And then we are losing Paul here, so we're just gonna check if we have anyone for him. But let's do this one in the meantime while I look for to see if there's anything.
Sergeant Point Blank says, I still think they should have done a female crow in the Dark Ages. They missed that opportunity big time. Well, right now would be the wrong time for that because everybody would just freak out. But no, there was a lot of us saying it last night. Like, there's other crows that they could have just done this as another sequel to the ones we have. I mean, this one I said should have just been called Crow Rehab. But anyhow, like they have like the cowboy and some other ones like that they could have brought in. Yeah. Anyway, and then
I've
Andre,
only seen the second one. What was it? The one when they're in LA or
City of Angels.
Yeah, that's it.
Salvation was like the only one of the sequels that wasn't horrible, but it's still like straight to video quality. I mean, don't get me wrong. And no, that's not the one with Edward Furlong. The one with Edward Furlong was the fourth one. Wicked Prayer.
You have way too much knowledge on this.
I know, I do. Well, I love The Crow. I hate the sequels, but
I'm going to give you some more knowledge. Edward Furlong at one point actually dated Jolene Blaylock, the actress behind T'Pol.
That's true. Mannheim Globus is
Menachem.
here. The Mannheim Menachem. Yeah,
Menachem Globus.
I always did that as a kid, and then I learned later on Menachem is how you said it. He's become a YouTube member. I didn't even know he was still alive.
And neither did I. I wish he was back making movies.
Yeah, we need some more Menachem Globus productions.
Yeah,
we do.
Then iCthulhu says, can you discuss your views on the Rotten Tomato review changes? Should have done this ages ago. Looks like it was precipitated by the recent FTC rulings. Okay, now Flash, you were kind of, I don't remember if you did a video on this, but you posted something about this yesterday about the Rotten Tomato scores being funky.
Yeah, they're changing it so that only if you buy tickets through Fandango can you have a verified audience review, and that's the only ones they're going to count, really. So who even uses that, number one? So you're going to have an audience score with like 50 people,
right?
You know, like how is that really a metric anyone can trust?
Wow, there you go. It's dead. Okay, I gotta go. See you, everyone. Have a good time. Have a wonderful weekend, folks, and always a pleasure. Nice to see you again. Yeller Flash, Tom, Andre, have a good one. Bye, folks.
You too.
All right, and then we did have a Rumble rant sitting over here from QLix81, who says DEI had bad week in the video game industry. Black King Wukong is setting records while Dustborn is so bad it cannot be parodied. Yeah. So while we got you here, Yellow Flash, some video game talk. I was introduced to this Dustborn game.
Just watch my short. Play that.
Yeah, let me see if I can. You got a link for that real quick?
I put them on X and on YouTube. Hold on.
I know I shared one yesterday too, because I was trying to figure out what game it was from. Yeah.
So here's a song. Oh, I'm echoing. Is that me?
Yes, it is you.
That was me.
Put your headphones on, Tom.
I'm dealing with a dog.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hear it anymore. All right. Let me share my screen. Yeah, this game looks to be pure cringe. I got to go watch. So Madam Savvy did a whole playthrough for it. I got to go watch it.
We're the aliens. We're the refugees.
Are we going to get claimed for this?
No, I don't think so. It's a video game.
Was different. You make a living doing this?
We're a bit rusty, and it's been a long day.
Yeah, sure thing. By the way, that song can be considered offensive in the Republic. This isn't Pacifica. People here don't like politics with their entertainment.
Fella you're with, the black kid? Dresses like a writer? Does he know anything?
You are racist.
Trash! What's wrong?
That's it. So you can run
Gee,
around
I wonder
calling
what they're
people racist.
commenting on. Yeah.
Still echoing, Tom.
So I'm curious, is this meant to be completely serious, or are they like...
Yes, because the game was made in response to Donald Trump's presidency.
Really?
Yeah.
Because this is like the frustrating thing with these wokies. It's kind of like impossible to tell if it's satire.
I know.
Or meant to be parody, and if they're legit, because they're so completely and utterly crazy that I can't tell the difference.
This is apparently the world that Donald Trump wants to create.
And the alternative is a world where we actually get a new world war. So yeah, fantastic.
So that's Dustborn. 75 people playing it. So that's a huge L.
I'm guessing more people are playing that, like Black Wukong or whatever it was called.
Yes, lots of people. They're trying to say, well, only people in China are playing it, which is not true. Are there a lot of people in China playing it? Oh, yeah. But worldwide, the game is a hit. But
it's funny how that works.
the salt surrounding it is funny. Found an article today going over it. There's a man that is very upset that this town somewhere in that world that's all women wasn't included. So I guess he was supposed to ride his cloud 200 miles away or however far it is to go interact with these women and then go back to the regular area. It's stupid. And how do they know there's not DLC coming with that either? It's fucking dumb. I can't stand these people. A game set in ancient China. An ancient Chinese legend needs more diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell them it's a legend, or they'll say that's the good reason why they should change it.
Yeah, because there was so much diversity in China back in those days. It was such a diverse place.
I mean, I don't know what it was like in China, but in Japan, if you tried to go there back in the day, they would kill you. So there is that.
But again, the beauty with this is that there's just more data points, which for one thing is triggering the wokies like you have no idea. But it also goes to show just how far away from reality and just the public perception they really are. And you see this more and more now with more and more companies ending all kinds of DEI commitments that they have because they see it's just not worth it. The loss that they have in customers far offsets any kind of benefit that they have from going all in DEI. And obviously, I think the gaming studios are noticing this as well. And especially when you have like then one game that isn't going woke and everyone is flocking to it, even outside of China.
Yeah, it's a legitimately good game from what I've seen. I have it, but I just keep watching One Piece. It's like, I'm going to play it today, and then I just end up watching One Piece.
Yeah, well, it's priorities, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get to it soon.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that game developers eventually will get with the program because they're firing so many people who actually are good. They're just being forced to work on wrong projects. And it's kind of messed up how the industry is completely torpedoing itself on the altar of diversity, equity, and inclusion that no one really wants, especially not the paying audience. And that's the irony. They claim that they do it to expand the reach, but all data shows that the exact opposite happens. So it's funny how that works.
Tom get his dog under control yet?
I don't know.
Yep, I'm eating toaster strudels listening to you guys talk about video games.
Oh, that's really it. That's it.
Yeah. No, it hasn't been too big week in video games. I didn't notice that there's actually a video game.
There's a story I'm waiting on, and that's how many people are playing Concord, which we should have some numbers as soon as it releases on Steam. I don't know when they're going to officially put it out. And then next week we have Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh, that should be fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Just as the shock about the cancellation of the Acolyte is slowly going away, it's going to be replaced by the shock of the audience rejecting Star Wars Outlaws and all of the videos humiliating it. So yeah, guessing that's the topic for next Friday then. Another week of hell for Disney and for Star Wars. And also on that particular note, Nightwish fan says for $5, high low on Acolyte getting willowed. And I love
pretty
that
good.
More people are getting around
What's
to
the rating?
using that term.
Does anybody remember what the final minutes watched was for Willow?
No, but I'm sure.
Compare that to the Acolyte, which is also very low.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're probably comparable.
Yeah, but if you were to just guess Yellow Flash, what do you think are like the percentage chances of the Acolyte getting willowed?
I guess it'll depend on if it's up to Kathleen Kennedy or not.
I don't think so. I don't think that she was the one that decided to willow in the first place. I think
she might have signed off on it, though. We don't know.
No, we don't know, but I would be surprised if she even had the vote in that decision. If the CFO decide in the company says that no, this thing has to go, I make that call as a CFO, I think that he can overrule any objection that she might have.
But I'd say that I agree. There's a good chance it could get become a tax write-off, which I think would be really funny.
It would be so hilarious. And especially since it would have happened to then 2 Lucasfilm productions. That's like such a credit to Kathleen Kennedy's legacy right there. Tom, if you were to put a percentage on it, what do you think is the percentage chances of Acolyte actually getting Willowed?
Less than Willow, because I think a lot less people watched Willow. And I wonder, because there's got to be a stipulation on, you can't just start memory holing and tax writing these things off if people have already seen them enough. I'm sure there's got to be a level of like, unless it's less than this amount of views, I don't know if they can necessarily write it off. I'm not sure how that works.
I think it's a matter of how long it's been and how much
that could be very well too.
There is just much more likely than how many people saw it. It doesn't matter if 1 million people saw it if they all canceled Disney Plus afterwards. There's no money.
Maybe, but how do you prove that to the tax part? Like, see, that's the thing. That's why I wish like Mikey or somebody was here to kind of, because like I don't know how that part works. Because I would imagine that at least twice as many people watched Acolyte as Willow, maybe at most, but otherwise it was probably comparable. But like nobody watched Willow, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, like that's how bad that was. Same thing with Turner and Hooch and some of the other shows that they canceled. So in this case, though, people were actually watching it at first. It just fell off a cliff. And let's be real, it's more of an embarrassment because of the type of show it is. Because you even this was, and I remember comparing it to, and I'm standing by it. This was basically the Velma moment of Star Wars. Because you even had a large portion of the other side of people going, yeah, no, we can't do this. This is just too fucking far. Right? So there's only literally just those few hangers on that are left. Like probably just those 4 people that are in Steph's video. That's pretty much shows you how popular this show is. Compare that to the video they did at the beginning of the show, right? Where there was tons of them. Compared to now, like I don't even see anybody saying shit and trying to defend this film. And we've seen the signatures. Like that is sad. The video we dropped yesterday, like they haven't even got that many more signatures since yesterday.
What's it at now? It's at 5,000 yesterday.
It was at 8 when we did our video. Let me see here. Petition. All right. It is sitting at 21,000 votes right now. Almost 22.
Yeah, which is and that's after getting press all over the world, and we don't know how many of those 21,000 are real, legit signatures.
So basically, the loud area of X is carrying that.
I'll sign up to save it. We could use the money.
We got many people in that even said that they had signed up because they want more ridicule and they want Disney to lose more money on it.
Don't let the haters win.
This is not the scientific thing, but even fine. So there's 20 signatures now. As I said in the video from yesterday, 2 days in, it needed to be 50,000 signatures for it to be good, and it needs to be 100,000 by the end of the weekend. I mean, that would be indicative of an audience. Remember, as it is right now, if you had done a petition for Save Batwoman, you would expect higher numbers than these, because that show had slightly less than 1 million in average viewers. So what we are talking about here is that so far you have like not even 10% of the viewership of the Batwoman that has signed up to see this renewed. I think if you had done a poll for Batwoman, more people would have signed that by now than this. 20,000 may sound impressive, but it really isn't.
Well, and that goes to show you also the kind of reach that some of these streaming shows and channels have, right? Because CW, just by the fact of being a network and people just kind of had to deal with it just in their daily lives at some point, more people, you're right, more people probably were aware of Batwoman than like if we went up and polled 100 people on the street right now, I'm willing to bet that 80% of those people wouldn't even know what the fuck Acolyte is. But if you asked them about Batwoman, they would either know of the CW series or have heard of the character at least. So like you're looking at maybe 30% would know what the series is, and maybe another 10, 15, 20% would at least know the character if they weren't aware of the series. Right. And I know those are low numbers, but think about that for a minute. I'm willing to bet like 10% of the population probably knows what the show is. And if you even said it was something Star Wars, they would still be like, I never heard of it. I guarantee, like, that's what I'm saying. Because I mean, I remember when The Mandalorian was big. I'm like, who's watching the show besides us? Because I had one of the first Baby Yoda shirts out there, right? And every time somebody saw it, they would freak out. And they're like, where did you get it? All this kind of stuff like that. And I would ask them, what did you think of the show? Oh, well, I haven't watched the show, but my kids love Baby Yoda. That was the most common thing I would hear all the time. So it really makes me wonder how many people actually really watch these shows. Because I'm almost positive that Mandalorian being the most popular of the bunch, sure, it had some viewers, but if you look at their numbers, those aren't even like some of the, like we were talking about Star Trek before. Star Trek Enterprise got canceled with 4 million average viewers a week. They're lucky if they're doing that with these shows. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
right?
there's no way.
That's what I mean. So just to kind of give you where I'm coming from with this. And if Mando was a show that was on a network like ABC, I guarantee you it'd probably be at least in the top 20 of the week because it's Star Wars. But they don't really, I don't think people seek this shit out so much anymore. They don't advertise this shit anymore. We've talked about how the seasons are all fucked up. Nobody knows when a show is on anymore. There is no reason for anybody to go out of their way to watch The Acolyte, let alone half these other Star Wars shows. So
yeah,
if it gets
also,
willowed, I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, to answer that question. Sorry.
Yeah. And to put a percent, I'm going to give it 30% chance. I think it's 70% chance that it doesn't get willowed and 30% chance that it does.
Yeah, I think it has a less of a chance than Willow, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does, basically.
At 30%, I am not surprised, but I think it's more likely than it stays that it doesn't stay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then we've got Eclipse Warlord, who just says, good morning, everyone. Well, good morning, Eclipse Warlord. DCB Titan says, according to Steam, Concord is out now, 425 players. I'm not familiar with Concord.
Are you sure that that's not the benchmark, or not the benchmark, the beta? Because there's two different ones.
You're talking complete Greek to me. Actually, I kind of know what you mean. Then we got Action Com here who says Jack Black is starring in an Orson Welles biopic. Is he? I thought I heard some rumors about this a while back. Maybe it's finally getting off the ground. Wish Jack Black wasn't a dick.
We can't have everything.
I know, right?
I guess.
Oh wow, they got a picture up there. Or no, this is something else. Okay. I'm not seeing anything here. Drunk History played him on. I was gonna say, yeah. So that was the picture. I'm not seeing anything. Are you sure you just didn't see a clip of Drunk History? That's plausible. Yeah, I'm not finding anything Action Com on that.
No, first I hear of that.
Yeah. Paulus Plain sends in 100 Norwegian krona and says, if you go to Norway, go to Lillehammer. Did I say that right?
Yes, that was pretty good.
Myhaugen Museum?
Myhaugen, yeah.
Myhaugen. A taste of ramengrøt.
Yeah, pretty good. Rømmegrøt, sukker, kanel og smørje. Yeah, that's porridge. That's porridge made of. I don't even know what rømme is in English. It's like some milk derivative product. So yeah, do check that out. Very traditional Norwegian labor food.
Yeah. And thank you for the tongue twister. We got Action Com says, Andre, what about Tivoli?
Tivoli is in Copenhagen. And if you stop in Copenhagen, you absolutely should go to Tivoli in Copenhagen, which is a fantastic place to be. The closest one to that in Norway is Tusenfryd, and if you have the chance to go there as well. I used to work there when I was a kid. Fun fact. It's my first job. But the Tivoli is Copenhagen, not Norway.
Interesting. And then we've got Jesus Davila gifting a membership. Thank you, Jesus. We appreciate the support. Bucky Cat sends in $5. Says Tom's right. The only way I know about good program on streaming is Midnight's Edge, Nerdrotic, and Critical Drinker, etc. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, because I remember when Cobra Kai first came out, nobody knew what the fuck it was. When it was on YouTube, I remember we were talking about it then. And then finally when it dropped on Netflix, then everybody discovered it, and it's like, yeah, I watched that a year ago. Like 2 years ago. Yeah. So sometimes you'll have that. And then Master Clockwork says with 5 says it doesn't help that when it comes to Star Wars, most people aren't thinking TV shows, they think of the movies. Yes, that's another problem. And not only that, people don't want to always have to do homework. Just because they like Star Wars doesn't necessarily mean they want a Star Wars TV show. But if it's good, I'm sure they'll watch it. Justice for Geo the Rock sends in, yeah, that's true. He didn't get any justice. Sends in 14 South African Rand, says, Justice for Geo. Chris is saving the Acolyte. Well, hopefully Chris is successful. I think we could all use another year of laughs out of the Acolyte on that front. But yeah, with that, Andre, was there anything else you wanted us to cover this morning? I know you had something about Disney's Week of Hell. We did speak a little bit about it.
We did mention it. We did mention it, yeah. So I think we have covered all of that. Did we get all the super chats? I kind of feel there was one we were missing there.
Go ahead and double check if you think we did. I think we got them all. We only got one Rumble rant today. Unless something's not working right.
Yeah. Let's see here. STR Red Wolf wonders, did we miss hits? Yeah, I'm going to go and double check that just to play it safe.
I thought I read one from STR Red Wolf, but I could be wrong.
I'm going to go and double check just to
I might have had it on screen and accidentally didn't read it. That's always plausible.
Yes, here's the one. STR Red Wolf said for $5. Andre, would you recommend the Flom train line, especially with the stop at the waterfalls? Yes, the Flom train line is the train between Oslo and Bergen, and you absolutely want to take that. Here's a fun fact. There's a place in that line, there's a stop called Finse. This is the planet you know as Hoth, because that's where they filmed. The Hoth scenes is filmed in Finse, Norway. And that's actually in the Flom line. You won't recognize it in summer, but you will recognize it in winter. On behalf of it being very snowy.
I don't know how you could recognize it. It all looks the same. It's just one big snow dune. I mean, it was so bad, they just literally shot out the front door of the hotel.
Yeah. And you can even stay at that hotel to this day. And Powerless Play and Ben clarifies that rømmegrøt is sour cream porridge. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So, yeah, do check that out.
The more Tom knows. Indeed.
And Hyper Guyver requests, anyone else want a Norwegian tour from Monday? Well, maybe I'll go on a black metal tour when I do return to Norway. Seeing as I live actually in Black Metal Central, like all of the big albums and stuff, they were recorded in Kolbotn, and all of those massive bands were in the area around Kolbotn. You know where in Norway I'm from? I'll tell you.
Well, you're Oslo, but yeah.
Yeah, that's there. I'm from Black Metal Central. So, yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll do like a tour of my neighborhood when I do return there at some point.
All right. Well, Robert says with $2, Hoshi on Enterprise for me. I'm trying to remember how it was pronounced.
Hoshi, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, she was the Asian chick.
All right. And with that, yeah, I think we've got it all. Did we have any metal news for the week or
Yeah, and
whoops.
Dragon
Sorry.
Bricks, Dragon Bricks saw Snow Hunter. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, we do have some metal news actually. We have like one big metal news that I think that you will enjoy, Tom. So I'll put that in the private chat while you roll the intro. Yes, I've looked at the news in metal, and there's not a lot of news in metal this week, but there is one big piece of news, and that is Megadeth, and we are big fans of Megadeth here at Midnight's Edge. I was at their concert in Germany just a couple of months back, and as Dave Mustaine has hinted, he wants to do at least 3 more albums before he retires. And
I believe him.
We now have confirmation that the next album will likely be released next year, which is awesome because they're firing on all cylinders all the time. And you really have to respect a band that just keeps pumping out albums regularly every couple of years.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what I said when you said they want 3 more. Like, yeah, they've got probably almost as many albums as Kiss at this point.
I've lost count, even though I have them all. So I'm very excited for this. Like, they haven't delivered a truly bad album so far. Like, not all were bangers, but their recent albums have been pretty good. And even Risk, the one that is notoriously disliked, I think is pretty cool as well, actually. So I'm looking very much forward to this one. So, Tom, you excited for more Megadeth?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I mean, at this point, they've got enough to where if they retired, I would be okay, you know. But I mean, if he's going to give us more, sure. I ain't going to say no. Always good to have. It's kind of like with AC/DC, right? Like they just never quit. So.
Yeah, speaking of someone else who never quit, we do have one other piece of news here as well. It's a little bit fun because it ties in with Rachel Zegler and everything. Well, of course, the main person here is Fred Durst, because Fred Durst, he's still touring with Limp Bizkit. He is kind of a joke, like he always was, and now he is going to play himself in a movie.
Oh, I saw the trailer for this last night.
Yeah, and who else is in this movie? None other than Rachel Zegler. So yeah,
Rachel Zegler's in it.
To metal by mixing Fred Durst up with Rachel Zegler. So yeah, good times, everyone. I'm glad I was never that big a fan of Limp Bizkit.
Okay, so this is from Jonah Hill and Kyle Mooney. And this is a movie that's like 23 years too late. And I can see already that it's basically going to feel like one of these movies where you got a bunch of kids who weren't even alive in the year 2000 in it. And we're going to sit here and go, that wasn't what it was like back then. And then anyway, the whole point of the movie, it should have just been its own thing because it's almost like Maximum Overdrive, but it's like making fun of the year 2000, the New Year's Eve, 1999 kind of thing, like all hell breaks loose. And like, yeah, it could have been funnier if it was not like attached to Y2K. It's like, who's going to get that
poor
joke?
man's 90s comedy?
Yeah. Which is sad because I want to see more comedies, but
not woke comedy.
Yeah, that's my problem too, Flash, is I'm worried about like how many things are they going to get in there that are going to be completely wrong about that era. To where if they just said it now, then it wouldn't matter. But anyhow, we got a couple more super chats in the meantime. We've got Tanaru, who sends in $4.99 and says, I'd like to give a standing ovation to 3 of the world's top comedians phoning it in. Despicable Me 4, trash story, good art though. Oh, that's too bad that you didn't like Despicable Me 4. Maybe that's why it didn't do as well as the last one. I hadn't really heard anything, so I didn't hear it was a bad film or anything like that. So Too bad you didn't like that. Sorry to hear that. Nightwish fan 1991 sends in $10. Says, to be honest, I'm amazed Acolyte even got canceled to begin with. I'm so used to these streaming shows getting more seasons than they deserve. Kurtzman keeps getting handed Star Trek shows. Well, that's because he's in control of Star Trek, pretty much de facto.
Yeah.
And he can have 5 shows in production at once. There is some rumors, though, depending on what happens with Paramount, which is all up in fucking arms now because of this other guy bringing in the other offer. So now that the 45-day window's been extended. We haven't even got to talk about that.
No, and I expect that we will learn more in the next few days, both about Star Trek and everything else. So we deliberately didn't say much about it now.
Yeah.
Next week, I think, is going to be a Paramount and Star Trek heavy week.
But before that, there was already some stuff going around about Star Trek and how they were going to deal with Secret Hideout. So we'll see on that. That's a good topic probably for next week, like Andre said. And then Justice for Geo Rock sends in 14 South African Rands. His thoughts on the Rings trailer? Well, you'll have to rewind for our thoughts on it. But since Flash is here, why don't you give your thoughts on the new Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim trailer if you got a chance to check it out yet?
It's okay.
Did you see the Japanese version?
No, I didn't watch the Japanese version.
It's so cool hearing Japanese people going, from Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings. It was so awesome. And actually, it gives a little bit different kind of point of view on the trailer. It doesn't look so girl bossy in the Japanese version.
That actually reminds me when Predator first came to Norwegian TV. I remember, like, the first time I saw it was when it was on TV, and like the presenter, he obviously didn't know how Predator is supposed to be pronounced, so he kept on talking about this movie Predator.
Predator.
Yeah. No, because like we just
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We just read the names. We don't know how it's supposed to be said. Like, you don't go around saying the word Predator that often. It's not actually in the movie. So yeah.
In Predator. Predator.
But we have a couple of more, so let's move on here.
Lasher wants to know if you like COF.
COF, that would be Cradle of Filth. I like them fine. I do like the songs that they had with Doug Bradley, mostly because Doug Bradley is in it. But I'm not a massive fan or anything.
I think it's filthy.
Well, that means it worked because that was the intention.
That's a word we don't use enough anymore. You ever notice that? I miss old ladies who used to go around, oh, that's just filthy. Anyway, War Monkey says, my brother has to wear a hearing aid in his 40s because of Megadeth. Oh, he went to too many concerts or was too close to the
should have worn ear protection. Like, never go to a metal concert without having like the earplugs. Very important.
I guess so.
And take that from me as a very experienced concert goer. I went to one concert once without hearing protection. That's a mistake I shall never do again. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Yeah, I haven't been to too many concerts, and that's kind of one of the reasons I'm not a frequenter is I got inner ear things with like whatever. But anyhow, that being said, Flash, you got Flashcast tomorrow night. Anything else coming up?
That's the big one.
That's a big one. All right. Andre, I'm sure will have some work for me at some point. I am thinking about doing another commentary at some point in the next couple days, if not even maybe today. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to really think about it too much. Andre's been putting me to work all week, but yeah.
And I'm sure I'll do so this weekend as well. I don't have anything just yet, but I'm sure I will before long.
All right. And with that, I'm sure I'll see you guys at some point, somewhere, somehow. Until then,
it is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain. No fucks given, koala, koala. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain. No fucks given, koala, koala. Koalas in the rain.